What's going on, guys? It's your boy Scrub here, back again with another video. Hope you guys are having a great day. I know I am, and today's story time is a little bit different than something I've told before. It's about an emo kid that ended up getting a massive W. Seriously, I just thought this was a cool story, so I figured I'd make a video about it. So yeah, let's go.
I'm getting quiet now, laying low when you reach zone, vibing now, making albums take the bread.
Alright, so like I said, today we've got a story time about an emo kid, but you know, instead of being the cringe, they're on the reversal of that in this one, a little good old switcheroo. In fact, this time, I would say emo kid luck was on like 600, you know, they ended up making $55,000 off just being in the right place at the right time. Regardless, the person who sent this in to me was a self-proclaimed emo kid. I was one too, no disrespect there, it is what it is, everybody makes mistakes, everybody has those days. But I guess he had just moved into a new neighborhood with his mom, and his mom had talked to the neighbor a couple times and said that he was a nice guy, and mentioned that, you know, if her son ever saw him struggling with anything to help him because he was a really old man. And whatever, he just kind of had that in the back of his mind, and because he was an emo kid and a little bit quieter, he was having a hard time, like, in the neighborhood making a bunch of friends. People just kind of thought he was weird. So most of the time he would end up walking home alone, and because of that, he was just a little bit more observant, you know? Maybe if he had been, like, going somewhere after school or whatever, been talking to somebody, he wouldn't have noticed this. But one day, he's walking home alone, and he gets near his house, and he looks, and he sees his neighbor, who's, you know, close to 80 years old, and he's looking, and he sees him just carrying all these heavy boxes out of his house into his garage. And so, you know, his mom had talked to him before, mentioned that he was a nice guy, so he decides to, like, go offer to help. Which, if you see an old person really struggling with something heavy, I don't know, like, it's probably the right thing to do to help a little bit. And the neighbor's kind of surprised. He's like, well, are you sure? There's a lot of boxes. And he's like, yeah, whatever, I've got time. It's not like I have anything to do. And like I said, he was about 80 years old, so he ends up spending like the next hour or so just helping him carry boxes out of this room, off his garage, into the garage, and kind of putting them there. And afterwards, he's like, all right, thank you. I just moved all these boxes out here, but I need to organize them a little bit. I don't know which boxes are full of what. They were just stored in this spare room I have. So if you want something to do tomorrow, if you come back and help me organize these boxes, I'll pay you. I would really appreciate it. And so the kid's like, you know what? All right, fine. It wasn't like he needed the money or anything. He wasn't looking for a job, but, you know, he didn't really have much else going on after school. And why not help your neighbor make a little bit of money at the same time if you got nothing else to do? So he's like, all right, fine, sure. So whatever, he just goes back home after that, and there were a couple kids that were like in the neighborhood that were outside when he was walking back to his house, you know, and they were kind of whispering to each other when they saw him, but he didn't really think anything of it because he didn't think it was that weird of a situation, you know? He didn't think that like helping your old neighbor carry heavy stuff was a controversial thing to do. I don't really know how you could think that's a bad thing. Like, oh, did you see that dude helping that old man? Psh, what a loser. Anyways, the next day at school, a couple of the kids from the neighborhood come up to him and they're like, dude, what were you doing helping that old man yesterday? Like, dude, what's wrong with you? Why were you doing that? Which to me seems like a pretty obvious answer to the question, you know, 80-year-old man lifting heavy things, probably not having an easy time, alright, so I went to help him, and also, I don't know, like, why that would bug random kids in the neighborhood so much. Oh, did you see that dude over there trying to be helpful? Cringe. Anyways, the emo kid is like, well, he's 80 carrying heavy stuff, so I don't know why I wouldn't help him, you know? It didn't take me very much time, and I don't understand why I wouldn't just go ahead and, like, try to help him as best as I can if I was right there. And all these kids start trying to turn it into like something to make fun of him for. Oh, look at this wannabe Boy Scout dude, it's pretty cringe, LMAO. Oh, look at me helping all the old people in the neighborhood. They started trying to like make fun of him for helping this old dude, which I don't really understand, man. Listen, I'm not against making fun of people. Y'all know that if you're a fan of the channel. I'm all for giving people crap if it's funny, but like I just don't really understand what's funny about making fun of somebody for being helpful. Oh, look at that. Oh, Mr. trying to save the world, pulling over, helping people in an accident. Oh, look at you. You think you're so cool. Like, how are you gonna try to bully somebody for trying to help an old man carry heavy stuff? You know, isn't that kind of nice? Like, I don't know what you want the response to be to that. Like, oh, you're right? I suck. What a considerate person, dude. Did you ever consider the fact that you're a little bit of a nerd? Oh, get it? I called him considerate, then asked him to consider being a nerd. You get it? Yeah, that was some wordplay. What's up? I'm a bully, and I take English class. Anyways, they're kind of like coming for his neck about this, and usually in this situation, it would like make the emo kid feel upset. He even admitted that in the message, but because of what the situation was about, he just like didn't really know what to say. All he did was stand there while they're making fun of him and go like, all right, well, I'm sorry for helping the old man, I guess. Like, I don't really know what you want me to say. Like, he didn't feel bad about it because it's not like it was the bad thing to do. I don't know, man. You'd have to, like, be pretty open to peer pressure to be peer pressured into, like, not wanting to help somebody struggling with something, you know? Yeah, listen, old man, I know I said I would help you organize your garage, but these kids at school said, oh, look at you want to be Boy Scout, so now I think this is on you. You just take all the boxes instead. Regardless, they're kind of like, dude, you just kind of are a wannabe Dracula out here helping people. It's kind of weird, bro. Like, you're not even from here. Why do you care so much about what people in the neighborhood need help with? I don't know. I just like, I like, what are you even supposed to say to that, dude? Why do I care about people that need help with stuff, even though I just moved here? I don't know. I mean, am I not like, how long do you have to live in a place before you're allowed to help people? Actually, you haven't lived here for at least 2 equatorial rotations, so you're not allowed to help anyone with any type of yard work or moving boxes, all right? Anyways, the emo kid is kind of going back and forth with them and is like, look, I don't really know what your issue is, all right? I don't know what me looking like Dracula has to do with anything, but I'm actually going to be helping him again after school today, so if you guys are going to have a problem with that, then, you know, I guess you're going to have an issue, but I don't really understand what's wrong with me being emo and, like, helping somebody. He's just really not understanding what they're going for. This has been the saddest attempt at bullying I've ever had described to me. This is the equivalent of going up to, like, an NFL player. Oh, what are you, good at football, pal? Ooh, what are you, Mr. Multi-Millionaire for tossing a ball? It's like, dude, I mean, I guess in theory that could make you feel cool, but you're not really making them feel bad. Like, what, do you want them to be ashamed of the fact that they're a millionaire for throwing a ball around? Anyways, they kind of say to that note, like, what a waste of time, dude. Helping some random old man isn't gonna help you get into college or make money. Like, I don't know why you do that. Which is nuts to me, bro, because it's like, does everything have to be done for your college resume, dude? Call me crazy. I got into a college. It wasn't the best college of all time, all right? I wasn't out here rocking up to Stanford. But that being said, you know, I got into a college and I did not have the best extracurricular activity rap sheet, all right? I will say that. I don't know. I feel like you're allowed to just help an old man that asked for help and, like, not really expect a crap ton of gold or a college experience in return. Regardless, the emo kid is just kind of like, all right, the bell rings, they have to go their separate ways, and he walks away. They're all cheering, you know, as if they just really won that altercation, but he's like, damn, they're kind of dumb. Regardless, though, after school, he gets to the old man's house, and he knocks on the door, and the old man answers. He's like, oh, awesome, this will be great. I'll just go open the garage. Meet me around there. So he goes around, he opens the garage, and he says, hey, all right, here's kind of what I need. All these boxes were in this room. I'm not really sure what's in them. I have an idea. It should be a lot of, like, stuff I've collected through the years. But, you know, I just need all these boxes. We have to go through them. And listen, over the course of an 80-year lifetime, you tend to have a lot of crap. If you haven't gotten rid of your crap over 80 years, there's a lot of it, you know. There's just a lot of boxes. There's a lot of different types of boxes. Boxes that are marked from, like, the 70s. Boxes that are marked from the 50s. Homeboy's out here really having, like, a time capsule just because he's a little bit of a hoarder, you know, just 80 years worth of stuff. And the old man's like, all I really need you to help me do is go through these and organize it. And so, seems fair enough. He opens the first box, and it's an entire box of old baseball cards. In, like, mixed conditions, some better than others, but, you know, he's kind of like, all right, these boxes aren't full of garbage. There might actually be some stuff in here that's worthwhile. He opens up the second box, and it's a bunch of, like, metal ad signs from, like, old companies and stuff, which, if you've ever watched American Pickers, which I have, you would know that metal advertising signs do tend to fetch a hefty penny, all right? So, you know, he's not taking anything from the boxes, and he's not, like, freaking out or anything, but he's taking note that a lot of these boxes seem to be full of of stuff that could be worth a lot of money if you were to sell it, you know? And there's a lot of boxes, so he just ends up helping the man kind of go all through this, organizing everything, sorting through it, and spends the next 4 hours with this old man just going through the boxes. Ends up organizing them, putting them on these shelves that he had, and when it's all said and done, there's like 15 boxes of baseball cards, a couple boxes of like these small advertising signs, you know, maybe 30 other boxes of like collectible stuff. Not as much that this kid knew anything about, but it was like in decent condition, you know. And at that point, he's like, thank you for helping me out. And the emo kid looks at the old man and is like, yeah, of course, no problem. I had a great time looking through the collection. Even if you're not particularly into baseball, like I'm not a baseball fan, it would be cool to like see a bunch of really old baseball cards, you know. So overall, he's not really too pressed about it. The old man said thank you for helping, and the emo kid was just gonna leave. Sure, the old man had mentioned paying him, but like he had just had a bunch of fun going through the collection, you know, helping the old man was something he probably would have done anyways. So he was just gonna walk out the door without expecting any payment in return, you know, he wasn't really pressed about it. Anyways, he goes to turn and leave the garage, and the old man stops him and is like, hey, don't I owe you something for your help? Like, didn't I say I was gonna pay you? And the emo kid looks at him and he's like, nah, you don't have to, you know, it's not necessary, you don't have to. Like, I enjoyed looking at the collection, I had a good time, so you really don't have to do that, it's okay. And listen, man, I feel like most people in that situation would have been like, yeah, I helped you move all these boxes, cough up the dough. And I think the fact that the kid really didn't want to get paid, like, made the old man feel like he deserved to get paid even more. And the old man literally had his wallet out at the start of that conversation and is, like, kind of surprised by his answer. And he's like, all right, you sure you really don't want money? And the emo kid's like, yeah, it's just really not that big of a deal. It's okay. And the old man's like, are you sure? Like, he keeps asking him, trying to make sure, like, dude, trust me, like, I want to pay you. You just help me move all these boxes. Please take the money. And the kid just keeps being like, nah. And he doubles down again. He's like, look, it was an awesome collection. The old baseball cards were really cool. I'm glad I got to help you out. I had something to do after school. I really don't need anything. It's okay. And the old man kind of has, like, something change in his head. You can kind of tell that he's thinking now. And he puts his wallet away, and he just decides to walk over, and he grabs one of the boxes of these old baseball cards, right? And he walks over to the emo kids and he goes, all right, since you won't take money, you keep mentioning how cool the collection is, I want you to have this. And the emo kid's like, no, I can't take this. You know, these cards are so old, who knows what they're worth? And the old man's like, look, I'll be honest with you. I have no clue what the cards in there are worth. Sure, they could be worth a crap ton, but you can keep them, sell them, I don't care. This box is yours. You have to take it for helping me. It's the least that I could do, you know? And once again, the emo kid tries to reject it. At this point, it's like, take the box, bro. Clearly, homie's sending you home with something. You've tried to reject it multiple times. If he wanted to send you home empty-handed, he had his chance. He would have been like, all right, dude, bye. Close the door. Done. Over with. If someone's trying to pay you like 50 times, just take it. Just take it, man. Why are you trying to not get stuff for your hard work sometimes? If you offer, no, it's okay, you don't have to. And they're like, nah, I insist. Then they insist. It is what it is. Regardless, finally the emo kid reluctantly takes the box and he's like, all right, thank you. And he decides to go back home. And obviously he goes back home, goes to his room, opens the box and starts to kind of go through the cards, right? And as he's going through them, he's like, man, a lot of these are pretty old. He's like, I don't know a whole bunch about baseball, but I know baseball cards are collectibles that kind of go up in value the older they get sometimes. And a lot of these are in pretty good condition for how old I think they are. So I wonder, you know, what's going on? Like, are any of these worth anything? And listen, I'm sure this 80-year-old man knew that some of the cards had probably gone up in value, but didn't really, like, know how much. And on top of it, you gotta remember that, like, it's not like this old man is super apt at looking up old card prices on the internet to know the value of his collection if he tried to list them all today on eBay. I don't really think this guy would know how to function the Google too well. So, whatever. As he's going through this all, he decides to pull up eBay, get them all organized, and just kind of see what they're worth. The man, when they had been talking about the collection, you know, and like how he had come to get it all, he talked about how he had always liked baseball, so he had just kind of been buying cards forever. So, you know, obviously when you've been doing that for an extendedly long time, some parts of your collection are going to be valuable. So after he organized all the cards and starts going through it, looking them up, the first card was worth like $3, you know, all right, that's fair, he says. The second card he picks up is like a really old looking card, you know, I don't know anything about baseball cards, but he looks it up and he's flabbergasted because a PSA rated one is worth like $5,000. And so obviously at that point, his jaw literally hits the floor. And so he's like, damn, dude, I'm holding a $5,000 baseball card in my hand. He gave me a cardboard box full of baseball cards that were neatly stacked. Like there's a crap ton in here. If one of these cards is worth $5,000, there's a pretty good chance that the rest of this box is going to be worth a very hefty amount of money, which all in all is probably some pretty good analysis. You know, like I said, I'm not a trading card expert out here, but if someone gives you like a box of 800 things and the second thing is worth $5,000, you could probably assume the rest of the stuff put together is at least 10 grand, you know, if it's like a collection of stuff. So whatever, he starts to go through the rest of the cards and just quickly comes to the conclusion that the rest of the box is so much money. He doesn't go through every single card. A lot of them are only worth, you know, 50 cents, $2. Like it's not like a lot of them have a lot of value, but by the time there's only like maybe 100 cards that he hasn't identified and looked through the price on, he's come to the amount of this box being worth probably about $150,000 in baseball cards just sitting here. All right, guys, I'm gonna interrupt the video for a second. I went ahead and made a little Spotify show. I'll put the link in the top of the description down below, but if you want to listen to any of the story times on there, I'm gonna be posting them a lot quicker than I was on that other one. So like I said, link in the top of the description. Go check it out if you want to listen to any of the story times offline, and let's get back to it. At that point, though, he decides he needs to say something to the old man because, like, you know, he would feel bad taking $150,000 worth of baseball cards for 4 hours of work, which, you know, I'll give him credit, way nicer than most people would be in this situation. 99% of the people would have sold all the cards on eBay and moved away before the old man even knew what hit him, but regardless, he decides that's not what he's about, so he goes back over to the old man's house, knocks on the door with the box. Old man answers and he's like, hey, man, I told you that you needed to keep this. I told you that these were yours. What are you doing trying to bring it back? And he goes, well, I ended up looking online to see what it would be like if we sold them, you know. And come to find out, it's worth about $150,000, so I just can't take that for the amount of work that I did. I really appreciate it, you know, I really do, but I only did 4 hours of work. This is worth way more than what that's worth. And the old man kind of sits there thinking for a second, and he goes, well, how much did you say they're worth online? And he's like, $150,000, this box, from what I could guess. And he goes, all right, well, I know nothing about eBay, so I won't give you the box, fair, but what if you sell them online for me for like a percentage? You know, I don't know how any of that online stuff works. There's no way I'd ever be able to figure it out, so if you did that for me, you'd help me out by letting me sell them and get all that money, and then you'd make some money because you'd get a percentage of whatever you sell, okay? How about that? Because I have no clue how this internet stuff works. I need somebody to set everything up for me and run it for me. Anyways, the emo kid is obviously not gonna say no to that. That's a pretty good situation. He gets a percentage. He doesn't feel like he's ripping off the old man, and they end up agreeing that he gets 5% if he sells all the cars, right? And obviously he's stoked with that because 5% of that first box is what, $7,500, something like that, around there. That's not too shabby if you're just like doing work listing stuff on eBay that you didn't have to collect in the first place. So over the next few weeks, he's just spending a lot of time going through all of these boxes, sorting everything, getting everything priced, making sure everything has like a listing so he can justify the price. You know, a little bit of like, okay, I did this price because this cost this, and I think that we can sell it for this. You know, he's doing a crap ton of research, and it ends up being close to what the kid estimates is $1.3 million of baseball cards, advertising signs. Like, this guy just had all this crap in his garage. And the old man is just absolutely shocked, right? He had no clue. He had assumed that, like, they might have some value, but for the most part, you know, he didn't think that baseball cards would be worth anything. He had worked as an engineer and, like, would get a lot of metal signs from working whenever he was on an engineering project. He would just toss them in the box, and then a lot of the baseball cards, he liked baseball. So, like, he'd be in the gas station, grab a pack for $2, open it, and then throw them in a box. You know, just didn't really pay much attention to it. So he had just slowly built up this collection of a bunch of crazy cards, mainly because he didn't know what he had. Like, if he would have been trying to flip it and build this great collection, I don't know how this would have worked, but because he was just kind of hoarding old stuff, it worked out for him. Now, don't be a hoarder. I wouldn't recommend that, you know. But regardless, they end up selling everything. He was a little bit off in his pricing, and so over the next year, they end up selling $1.1 million worth of stuff. So, you do some math. I think that means Emo Kid took home a cool $55,000 for helping, which is not too bad for just being in the right place at the right time helping a dude move boxes. I mean, I'll take $55,000 for just, helping somebody move boxes and then listing stuff on eBay. Like I said, you didn't have to do the hard part of being 80 and collecting stuff for your entire life. Anyways, when it was all said and done, this old man and him had become good friends, because obviously that's what happens when you're like, doing business together. Things are going good. You're making money. Easy to get along with somebody in that situation. And obviously, he was kind of talking to the old man about how, like, he was going to take the money and spend it on college and stuff, and everybody was very hyped about it. Now, I do want to make it clear that, like, once again, his mom has known this old dude before. Like, his mom and him had talked and gone over how he's an old man, he wants to move to a retirement home. He's retired now. He has all this stuff. Like, it's important to know that this old man wasn't an absolute stranger before this, okay? Because that would be a bizarre situation. If you're ever walking down the street and your neighbor's like, hey, kid, you want to come into my garage? I have $1 million worth of stuff. You run, okay? You run the other direction. That's not a really good reason. That being said, he knew this guy was, like, cool with his mom, which is why he had thought it would be cool to help him in the first place. Just a situation where it really worked out for this dude to have a neighbor who had $1 million in his garage that he wasn't aware of, man. Like, do you think this old man looks back and is like, damn it, I wish I would have known about this when I was 70? I would have had another decade of rolling around the casinos, throwing around cash like there was no tomorrow. I just don't know how you, like, have $1 million worth of stuff and don't realize it. I guess the only way is to just not realize the stuff you might be collecting could be valuable. Like this guy, just open a pack of baseball cards, look through them, and then toss them in a box, not realizing that you have, like, a bunch of good player rookie cards or whatever. Seriously, though, like I said, don't consider this advice to be roaming around looking for boxes in garages, all right? There's a better chance that you're going to end up locked in a weird person's garage than you are going to make $55,000 being nice to an old person. Don't be mean, I'm just saying, this is just a good story time. It's not something that you need to be roaming around asking everybody to help them clean out their garage. Anyways, I bet all the people that were making fun of him for, like, going ahead and hanging out with this old dude to fix his garage look pretty stupid after the fact. What do you mean you made money helping him, dude? That's crazy. Regardless, the emo kid ended up using the money he made from helping the old man to pay for college, and even though people were making fun of him and saying it was weird and that he couldn't put it on his college resume, it didn't matter if he put it on his resume because he used it to pay for it instead. Massive W. Seriously, though, he ended up growing out of his emo-ness, but regardless, just figured that this story was something he should send into the channel. So, yeah, I figured it was pretty cool. I know it's not our usual, like, spoiled kid punching grandma in the throat because she refused to buy him Pokemon cards, but a little variation happens sometimes, and I spend enough time dunking on emo kids, I figured I'd give him a W one time. You know how it is. Seriously, though, that's gonna do it for the video, though, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed. If you did, I'd really appreciate you taking a second to press the like button. Let me know in the comment section down below what you thought, and of course turn on those notifications so you never miss another video. If you really want to help me out, I'll put a link to the intro song down below along with a link to my podcast, the Scuffed Cast, or of course you could use code SCRUBBY at the G Fuel checkout. Great way to get a discount on G Fuel. Help me out at the same time. I'd really appreciate it. And yeah, last link in the description is going to be a link to the merch store, so if you go there, pick up a t-shirt, it helps me out. I would very much appreciate it. On that note, though, guys, I'm going to go through every old person I know stuff looking for baseball cards. Hopefully, I'll see you guys next time with another video. Don't get anyone pregnant. If you do, make sure they're hot. I'm out. Peace.